All right, today we're going to talk about Chapter 8 and start our Chapter 8 notes. Section 8.1 is called Three-Dimensional Figures. Really, we're just trying to introduce you to the idea of a three-dimensional shape, try to become familiar with its attributes, and so that we can later on find their surface area and their volume. So yesterday we started talking about some vocabulary that's very important to this chapter that helps us to kind of, like I said, identify the parts that are significant to a three-dimensional figure. So let's go ahead and get started here. First we have a solid. A solid is a three-dimensional figure that encloses a space. For example, a box of cereal could be a solid because all of its faces are enclosed, and so it's a three-dimensional figure, but it's got closed faces on all sides, so there's no openings. Okay, what about a polyhedron? A polyhedron is a solid whose faces are all polygons. For example, a pyramid, or more specifically, a rectangular pyramid, is a polyhedron because all of its faces are polygons. Okay, you might have a rectangular base on a rectangle, and then you draw a dot up top, and then if you connect all of the corners to that dot, you can create a rectangular pyramid. And on that rectangular pyramid, all of its faces, the base, which is a rectangle, and all of its lateral faces are all polygons. So this is a polyhedron. Okay, next, a face. A face is a flat surface of a polyhedron. For example, the front of a house could be a face of a polyhedron. Okay, so I've given you an example here with a drawing with a cube. If you would like to try to draw your own cube, that's fine. I've drawn mine by first outlining or drawing my square, and then on each corner, the top left, I make a diagonal, the top right, make a diagonal, and the bottom right, make a diagonal. And then you just connect those lines to make a cube. And I have drawn an arrow to represent where we find our face of our polyhedron, or our cube in this case, more specifically would be a cube. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and try to give this a try, draw this cube and show with an arrow where the face of the cube is. Okay, so you can point an arrow to any one of these three faces that we can see. Okay, next we have an edge. Okay, an edge is a line segment where two faces intersect. For example, the perimeter of each face makes the edge of a polyhedron. Okay, so the perimeter of each face of our polyhedron make edges. So this is an edge, 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 this would be an edge, this would be an edge, this would be an edge, and there's other ones that we can't see on that back side. Okay, so we went ahead and drew our cube, and I also made a little arrow pointing to our edge. Okay, next thing we need to do is we need to cover what is a vertex. A vertex is a point where three or more edges intersect. For example, the sharp corners of any box are examples of the vertex. So again, I went ahead and drew my cube or my rectangular prism, and I drew an arrow pointing at the vertex of that cube. Okay, one of those corners where three or more edges intersect. So we have one edge here, one edge here, and one edge here, and they all intersect at a common vertex. Okay, a prism. A prism is a polyhedron that has two parallel identical bases. The lateral faces are always parallelograms, or in other words, also you could put in here in parentheses, rectangles. Because we know that a rectangle is a parallelogram. So it could be a rectangle or it could be a square. Okay, but all of the lateral faces will always be parallelograms, which includes rectangles and squares. Okay, so the biggest points about our prisms are it has two parallel and identical bases. So again, for example, let's draw a picture. Okay, down here, I want you to try to draw a prism. So we could have two different types here. We could have a rectangular prism. So I want you to start by drawing a rectangle. And then again, off of each of these corners, the top left, the top right, and the bottom right, we're going to draw diagonal lines that kind of go up. And then we're going to connect these with a straight line down and connect these with a straight line across. So this is a rectangular prism. And on my rectangular prism, okay, I'm also going to draw dotted lines that represent the faces that we cannot see. So I want you to do your best and try to do the same. Okay, so from this back left corner, we're going to draw a dotted line that goes down and it crosses this edge line. Okay, then it's going to go straight over and connect with this back vertex, and then another dotted line that connects to that point right there. So yours doesn't have to be exactly like mine, but it should look similar. Okay, now if we are trying to identify here, it says the prism is a polygon that has two parallel identical bases. So we have, I'm going to outline the two bases in green. So we have this base here and we have this base here. Okay, those two bases are parallel because they never intersect or touch each other, and they are identical. They are the exact same shape as one another. And all of the all of the lateral faces on this side, on the back edge, on the left side, and on the front, all of those lateral faces are all parallelograms. In this case, they're rectangles. Okay, you also might see a triangular prism, in which case the base is a triangle. We're going to draw the base facing us in the front this time. Okay, and again, to draw a prism, you just draw a diagonal line that goes kind of up from that corner and from this corner. And this one just needs to go a little bit farther than the other one. And then we're going to draw another diagonal line down to that back vertex. Okay, and again, my dotted line that shows the back edge is going to go from this corner all the way over to about right here, and then from the top corner down to that point, and then straight across to the other corner. So now we can kind of see the three dimensions of that shape. So again, in this case, I'm going to outline in green my two bases. We know that it is the base because they are the two parallel identical bases. So in this case, those are triangles. So we have a base here and a base here. And all of my lateral faces, the ones that go around the shape, are all parallelograms. In this case, they are all rectangles. We have one on bottom, we have one on the side, and then we have one on the back side over here. Okay, let's keep going. A pyramid. Okay, a pyramid is a polyhedron that has one base, and the lateral faces are always triangles. Okay, so again, I'm going to draw two different kinds of pyramids with you. We're going to draw a rectangular pyramid the way that we start that is we just draw a rectangle. Then you put a dot straight above the rectangle, and we're just going to draw diagonal lines from each corner up to that dot. And we have a rectangular pyramid. Okay, we know it's a rectangular pyramid because it has one base, which is in this case, a rectangle, and then it has lateral faces that are all triangles. And in this case, there are 4 of them. There's one on the front, one on the side, one on the back, and one on the left. Okay? We can also make a triangular pyramid. Okay, again, I'm going to draw a point up above, and we're just going to draw lines that connect to each corner. And again, it can create an image or a view of in this case, triangular pyramid, because the base, the one base that it has, is a triangle, and then it has lateral faces that are all also triangles. So this is a triangular pyramid. Okay, so I would like you to go ahead and stop there for today. And then I would like you to get onto Khan Academy, and we will finish this backside of notes tomorrow.